Welcome to Euclid Heat Treating. We are a commercial heat treater on the east side of Cleveland. The business was started almost 75 years ago in the garage of a house, and now it spans 5 buildings on almost 3 acres. Unlike a manufacturer, we're a service business. We don't make anything. Instead, we receive customer parts, heat treat them, and send them back. Other examples of service businesses that support manufacturers are platers, black oxiders, testing labs, and other metal finishing businesses. Lots of metal parts that go in cars, trains, planes, lawnmowers, and appliances all get heat treated after they're made and before they're assembled into the end product. Usually the blueprint for a part already lists the material type and what the heat treatment requirement is. Most of the time, the idea is to make the part harder so it functions in the assembly and lasts longer. There are many different types of heat treatment, and it depends on the configuration of the part, the material, and the requested heat treatment. Various different heat treating companies will have different types of equipment to do the same heat treat process. Some will have high volume machines that process parts in bulk, quickly and efficiently. Some will have more specialized furnaces to heat treat specialty products to exact specifications. At Euclid Heat Treating, we have both of these types of equipment and more, usually purchased or installed in response to the type of product our customer wants us to heat treat. Let's walk through the shop to see the process of receiving, heat treating, and inspecting parts. Customers send us parts on their own trucks, common carriers, or they request a pickup from one of our trucks. Sometimes the order is multiple bins of many parts, or sometimes it's one small part in a bag. We check it in, take a picture, and then start the process. The first step of entering the order in the system is very important. We need to verify that we have the right number of parts, the correct heat treating instructions, the inspection results we have to follow, and the specs that are referenced. Once the parts are checked in and assigned to process, they're brought to the receiving department to wait their turn. Sometimes we get the same part over and over again, and some days we receive parts we've never seen before. Two of the most common jobs in our plant are the material handler and furnace operator. The material handlers get the orders from the receiving department and prepare them for the furnace. Some parts are fixtured individually, which is very labor intensive. They're stacked in racks to go in the furnace. Some parts can be placed in baskets, where multiple orders from different customers are run together. When the job is ready to be heat treated, the furnace operator puts it in the furnace. It's actually a harder job than it sounds because the furnace is running at least 1500 degrees. To load the furnace, they use a special cart with a handling system. A heat treating furnace is different from your furnace at home. Instead of heating the air and sending it out into your home, the loads in a heat treat furnace are put into the heat zone to be heated. Once they're heated for the appropriate amount of time, they're cooled rapidly or quenched. Inside the furnace, there's a large tank of oil where the whole load is dunked into. Once it's cooled in the oil, it's removed from the furnace. The parts are then hard and need to be tempered, which is done at a much lower temperature, around 300 to 1000 degrees Fahrenheit. The quench oil is washed off, and then the whole load goes into one of those special furnaces for tempering. As you can see, the furnace operators deal with very hot equipment. They are required to wear long sleeves made of fire-retardant fabric to protect themselves from heat and flame. The other mandatory personal protective equipment for all employees is steel-toed shoes. There's a lot of heavy equipment and heavy parts around here, and steel toes are a must. There are other types of furnaces to heat treat different types of material. One such type is a vacuum furnace. Unlike the equipment you just saw, the vacuum load in most vacuum furnaces stays in one spot. Once the doors close, the chamber is evacuated, hence the term vacuum, and the parts are heated up without any air around them. That process keeps them relatively clean and keeps the chemistry of the material from changing. In a similar way, sometimes the furnace loads are made up of one big batch, and sometimes many small jobs run together. Another method of heat treating is called induction hardening, where only one area of the part gets heat treated. This is usually done one at a time, unlike the other processes we saw where the whole order and the whole part goes into the furnace. In induction heating, instead of heating the part by applying heat to it, instead a current is induced that causes the part to heat up. Once it reaches temperature, it's cooled quickly, either in air, a liquid polymer, or oil. This can be very labor intensive, and sometimes it takes longer to set up the job than it does to run it. However, it's the perfect solutions for some part configurations and uses. Another type of furnace we use is a rotary retort furnace. Instead of heating the whole load at once, the furnace is a continuous one that works kind of like a conveyor belt. It's actually, however, a hollow screw. The parts move from the front of the furnace to the back and are done when they reach the end of the furnace. At Euclid Heat Treating, we have one rotary furnace that quenches in oil and one that quenches in polymer. After the quench, the parts get washed and tempered, all through the same unit. The rotary retort furnace is ideal for products such as fasteners and washers. It provides close tolerance metallurgical properties at an economical cost. Although the parts usually look about the same coming out as they did going into the furnace, they have actually changed quite a bit. The microstructure and sometimes the chemistry has changed, and that results in a specific hardness and sometimes depth of hardness that needs to be verified by the quality department. The furnace operators and inspectors use various types of testing equipment to check the parts for the correct hardness and case depth. We operate according to two quality systems called ISO 9001 and AS 9100, which impacts everything we do. The quality of our process is everyone's job, from the person that counts the parts when they're received to the material handler that fixtures them the right way to the furnace operator that sets the controls and does in-process checks. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of work to keep the equipment running properly, and the equipment takes quite a beating. One of our biggest departments is our maintenance department. Not only do they fix furnaces when they break, they're constantly performing preventative maintenance on the equipment to keep it up and running properly. One aspect of the quality systems is that the heat treatment furnaces are running at the temperature that they are set to. At the highest temperature, they need to vary by no more than 25 degrees, and at the lower temperature, 10 degrees. Aside from just maintaining the furnaces, there are whole mechanical systems that need to be monitored, updated, and fixed, including electrical, plumbing, gas, and water. The maintenance department also does welding repair, facility maintenance, and fabrication. Heat treating impacts our daily lives in many ways. We're proud of the quality work we do at Euclid Heat Treating. Thank you for visiting us today.